You can hear us all right, Dan? You're muted, but
Yeah, I can hear you guys, no problem.
cool, we can hear you. Awesome.
But he wouldn't have to be muted.
Well, unless he has kids screaming in the background.
Okay.
Talking kids screaming. I gotta do this
He could
space
attend,
bar.
on them.
That's what he's doing.
Oh, okay.
Do you want me to have my kids scream in the background? I could.
So yeah, so he is here, he's attending remotely. So
Okay.
remember, all votes have to be roll call votes
Right.
according to policy.
Am I up?
We're not officially, the meeting hasn't officially started yet.
Oh,
Yeah, we got a couple minutes.
We're just getting the technology set up.
Just a few.
This is our debut, so you're one of the rock stars on the first broadcast.
excellent.
And it is being recorded for, for future generations. So
Perfect.
you
I
are,
want to be supportive, but no.
you are part of history. Oh, that's only when the trustee is attending. remotely. Yeah. Tonight. since-
Mhm.
Voice note. If Dan was here, then we wouldn't have to bother with such frivolities, but,
Wow, just keep throwing me under the bus.
I just wanted to use a big word.
It was $100.
All crowded. All crowded. Okay. Yes.
Minutes and counting.
Is there any agenda?
Yeah. No. Oh, yeah.
Minutes that we did last year. Actually, 13 minutes.
I don't think that's happening.
My number 4.
Yeah.
All right.
1 through 3 go really fast, so.
Okay.
wanna approve that time. It's just discussion.
Roger, what you guys know I was coming. He told me he was gonna put me on the agenda.
It is 8 o'clock and I will call the village board meeting to order. First order is the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome. Next order of business is the consent agenda,
I'll make a
minutes and the bills. There is an additional bill. It is the payment for the Fredonia Avenue loan. 23,000 and some odd dollars.
Make a motion for consent agenda with additional bill.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Number 4, open session for citizens' questions and comments.
By the way, point of order, roll call vote for all votes.
Oh, for consent agenda?
Because we have Dan being remote.
All right. We will repeat that vote. You can start with Bill and work down this way.
Aye.
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 And Dan?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried unanimously. Thank you for that. Open session for citizens' questions and comments. Yes, sir.
Okay, Kendall Fiscal here. Okay.
If you can stand in front of the mic, that'd be great, so our remote attendees can hear better.
Absolutely. Kendall Thistle. I'm here on behalf of that property up there, 228 Wilson Street. I was here a year ago when the project was going through for the sidewalks and sewer work. And at that time, we stated that the new sidewalk going across the front yard was going to remove a parking space from the driveway there. So I had mentioned that I would probably want to add a parking space along the side of the garage, the north side at that time, and it seemed to be pretty well received at that time, seeing as how the only reason I'm here is because the sidewalk project is removing a parking space, so that's the only reason I'm asking. Otherwise, I wouldn't really be doing that. So I met with Roger out at the property there and talked with him about it, and he was like, yeah, okay. He said he was gonna put me on the agenda for tonight's meeting, but apparently I'm on the public meeting. So anyways, he said I should get a letter from my neighbor that you guys got a copy of, that they said they don't have any objection to me doing that because it would encroach, he said there's a 3-foot setback. He said it's gonna encroach that a little bit, so probably gonna be a 2-foot setback. So the neighbor said that they didn't have any objection to that. And I guess as long as you folks don't have any objection. I don't know what the process is for this.
Doesn't something like this have to go?
Yeah, we'll forward this to the planning
Planning
commission,
commission?
because that's the next stop in the process.
Sure, all right, whatever. Will you get it all done before you put the sidewalks in?
I hope so.
All right, that's all I've got. Do I have to show up for that meeting?
We'll notice you when the meetings are, and then yeah, you can come in if you want or not.
All right, all right. I mean, just, it's like it just get kind of a straw poll, you know, what do you think of that there? It's just, let me show you here. It's just gonna come on here, this parking space here. There you go. It's just gonna extend this back here and then along here alongside the garage. There. I believe there's a telephone pole, I think it's the property line, and that's what we went to. There's the little swale that's in the middle there. So, whoops. That street?
No, that's not.
No, that's a street, yeah.
John's messing with you.
I did it. I'm being helpful.
Okay. So anyways, we're just gonna come right out here like this and this along here, and it seemed to be about 2 feet. It's 11 foot wide right off the garage, just the end of the garage back in. End of the house. Right there.
Sorry to interrupt, Rick, just out of curiosity, I can't see that on that screenshot. I'm guessing it's because it's shared from a different device. I don't know if there's another way to.
It's actually a good point, Dan.
I'm following, so it's not, I understand he's just showing where he would like, think the things to go, and we're not deciding on anything now either, but that would be something to think about in the future.
Yeah, good point. Teams meeting, you have to be able to share the screen.
If we had
He's got a
that,
phone number, I could text him a picture.
Seeing as it's not gonna be decided tonight, I don't think that's gonna be critical, but it is definitely something I need to make sure is doable in the future. So I think we're gonna refer this to the planning commission most likely.
Mhm. That's,
June 6th.
June 6th.
yeah, it's scheduled for the June 6th planning commission.
Okay, so you'll forward all this on and then go to there, and then does it have to come back for another approval after that?
The planning commission should be able to approve it.
Okay.
Do you want the letter sent to the Wilson Street address or your address? Just have it.
Send it to Wilson Street, that's probably,
Okay.
yeah, do that, or both. That way for sure.
June 7th or June 8th.
The notice for the, he doesn't live in his house. His daughter lives there.
June 6th. Do you have a time?
Plan commission starts at
7.
7.
Yeah.
There is a quick public hearing before. So
Yeah, the
June 6th
planning-
at 7.
The planning commission will just have the public hearing. I believe we have that internal of the planning commission. So the commission would start at 7. And when we get to that agenda item, you'll have the public hearing.
All right. Okay. See you then.
All right, thank you very much. All right, next we have report on operations by the village. I have nothing in particular to report right now, so I will move on to village marshal report.
Sounds good. Want me to take the mic as well? If you could.
Yeah.
No one's ever accused me of being quiet, but the mic will certainly help. Marshall Dale couldn't make it tonight, so he asked me, just going over his report here. The winter parking restrictions have ceased. Obviously, when in May, we're no longer doing that. Although I find myself disappointed I didn't bring my jacket tonight. The winter parking aspect of it is most certainly done. Hours are looking right about on average where we were last year. Arrests, we are up. In fact, the numbers, I believe you all got a copy of this. The numbers actually don't reflect the May total. There have been 15 additional arrests in May, so that current total is actually 67, not 52. As far as equipment goes, the changeover to the new radios that the county's been going through is proceeding well. All our squad radios have been converted to the new ones, and now, as of, I believe, a couple of weeks ago, our portable radios are all converted to the new ones. It's still operating on the old system until the county flips the switch to go to the digital system, but the equipment is all in place and it's been issued to the officers. Lastly, Marshall Dable is planning for the Celebrate Fredonia event on June 25th. His hope is to have coverage throughout the entire event. From what I saw on the sign-up sheet tonight, it looks like he's at least achieved that from approximately 2 p.m. to close of the celebration. There should be at least one deputy on for the Fredonia Marshal's office continuously, at least through that period. Thank you. I'm looking forward to it. As I told Mike, The first week I was with the Marshall Service was the Celebrate Fredonia Week. I thought it was a neat event at the time, and I'm pleased to see it back. So with that, that's it.
Okay, any questions?
The increase of arrests, is it all similar things? Is there a trend of crimes?
No, it's, I think it's mostly been traffic enforcement efforts. I think, I'm assuming Mike's kind of explained before that, you know, arrest is kind of a category that we lump any enforcement
Sure.
action into. So, I don't think there's been, at least nothing I'm aware of stands out.
Thank you.
I will have questions, but I'll wait until my report.
You hanging out for a minute there? Sure.
All right, thank you very much. Report from fire chief.
Really don't have much, except Josh, was this approved today?
That was approved today. That's that's what I was gonna talk about.
So we have the grant application for the paramedic program. So I guess I talked a little bit with Melissa this morning about getting maybe finance and public safety together to go through this. I'll take a stab at it. Get some of this stuff filled out, and then we will meet and talk about how to wordsmith some things and whatever else we got to do on this. So that's all I got.
Exciting stuff.
All right. Okay, any questions, Brian?
No, I will later.
All right, okay, thank you. Public Works Director report is in your packet. The number of things that have been working on, we still don't seem to have anybody to put a roof on the bathroom down at Marie Krause yet, but we'll work on that. Wastewater treatment plant is working well, functioning better than normal. So we will move to clerk treasurer.
I don't know what you want me to say.
Anything?
Yeah,
Additional-
anything you want to do, add to the report? Any questions of the clerk?
Yeah. Any questions? Still learning, still fighting deadlines. This week's learn was the liquor licenses for our establishments. I thought I had more time than what I have, and so I hand delivered all those today so that we're stay on task and get that going.
All right, and I learned tonight that trustee Gerke is taking on the project of getting us into all the particulars and finding out what we need to do to get on the state insurance and the WRS. And he's in the process of doing that now, so.
That's also quite the undertaking, but we're getting there. So we'll see.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
Okay, report from County District Supervisor.
All right, I'll try and make this as short as I can because I know we got a long meeting, but we had a public safety meeting this morning. And one of the things that came up was a resolution. That's what I want to talk to the marshal about for an ordinance that the county's passing to deal with vape pens from the ages of 18 and under. Apparently they're having a problem in Northern Ozaki School District with it not being nicotine, but being THC that they're putting there. And apparently from what I was told from the sheriff and the undersheriff this morning was that the marshals don't write any tickets for it because the village currently does not have an ordinance for that. And I know that the Ozaki County Sheriff's Department spends a lot more time up at the school because we have a part-time police program, which is completely understandable. But what I'm wondering is to kind of get your feedback is, should this be something that the village adopts from the county in our own ordinances for that, or should we just go off of what the county says? Is there any kind of feedback?
I've just spoken to Mike about it. I do know that we do end up there. Officer Wolf in particular ends up at the school from time to time as well when we're working up here with the county. I wouldn't see a problem in having an ordinance here, it allows for it.
Okay.
It would also have something in place. With something like that, it's always better to have it in place in case it's needed than to try to scramble once, for whatever reason, circumstances change. Suddenly we're doing more enforcement up there, then we would have to kind of backfill to get that in place. If it's already in place, then it's available.
Okay. And I would like to make a recommendation to the village board that we take a look at what the county board passed and try to adopt that into our own ordinance.
Would the marshal be able to come up with a template or some sort of suggestion of what that should all entail?
Well, he can look at the one we passed and see if,
Can we just modify the county version to?
Just
fit our needs?
personalize it to us. Yeah, it would allow them to write tickets on our ordinance because it would mirror the county's ordinance. Right now, they're out of jurisdiction. I don't know if that's what you would call it exactly, but to write ordinances, county ordinances, wouldn't be supported by an ordinance in the village, and that's where the shortfall is.
well, they were actually recommending that the village have an ordinance. That's why they're right. That's why the county is writing one or got approved today because the village does not currently have one. If we had one, they wouldn't have had to write an ordinance at the county level.
Oh, okay. So a municipal violation rather than a county violation.
Correct.
Okay.
I think what he's talking about is not necessarily using the county ordinance, but taking the county ordinance and making it a village.
Correct.
ordinance.
Mhm.
That would be one possible way to do it. I'll mention to Marshall Dable, he might be able to come up with a couple other offers for you. I believe the city of Port Washington also has an ordinance.
They do, yep.
So he probably can present you a couple options.
Mhm. Yeah, we do that with statutes, incorporate them into our ordinances all the time. It's just it's a jurisdictional thing and it helps to more localize the event.
And so, well, yeah, if he could present some options, I think that'd be great, but that's just something that came up this morning. Then the other thing, just for your knowledge as well, is the Public Safety Committee approved a full-time security resource officer for Upper North School District and St. Francis Catholic School, so in Cedarburg. So they'll be, we'll have someone up there, school's paying for half of it, and county's paying for a third of it, I believe.
Well, nice. I knew they were considering that. I wasn't aware that it had been approved yet.
Yep, it just got approved this morning, so we're moving forward with that, so that's great news. Northern Ozaki School District's gonna be happy about that, they've been asking for one for a few years, so that's a good step forward. And then, so that's all I had on that aspect things, and then for Brian, for the emergency medical service grants that did get approved today. The question I have though is because according to Sheriff Johnson, this is gonna go really fast for this grant stuff. Do we want, as a board, to consider giving public safety or finance the ability to make decisions? Now, I don't want to say unilaterally to the board, but give more autonomy to kind of be like, because this is gonna, according to what he said, it got approved this morning, it went out, and now we're accepting these applications, and Sheriff Johnson just casually mentioned at the meeting, like, if there are boards out there that didn't already give approval for these committees to kind of speed things along, it's gonna be, you're already behind the 8 ball. So I got thinking, I'm like, well, do we have to give our public safety some leniency to be like, okay, let's get this in, let's get this moving? Do you have any thoughts on that?
I do, I would like to ask that as well, I guess, as I talked with Melissa this morning, not knowing what was gonna be passed, but the application due is June 30th.
Yeah. Yep.
So it's gotta move fast. And I know that everybody's busy with family stuff and everything, to get this all squeezed in and go through committee and talk about this all, and then come back to a village board meeting 2, maybe 4 weeks later, it's gonna be tough to get all done, so.
Yeah, so I'm advocating that we give, I'm guessing this is gonna go through public safety or finance. I guess that's what we have to determine where we go, but I would like to see something put on there that we give that committee the ability to get this grant filled out and get it sent in, because we are running on quite a deadline here. We can't do that tonight, I know, but I'm just saying at the next meeting.
Yeah, we can set that up for the first June meeting
Yep.
and approve that.
And as chair of finance, I'd be fine with it going through finance, but I could see it going through public safety, especially since the funds are external to the normal village funds, so it wouldn't necessarily have to go through finance. But I'd be willing to take it on.
But we got that sustainability piece in there that I really
That is
would
true.
like finance to have.
Right,
say,
that's true.
because You guys want to play a big role in that sustainability in your form.
Mhm.
So, and when we talked, when Melissa talked this morning, it was, we're adding one more piece, one more person that's bringing off of public safety. If we go to public safety, we're adding Josh, right, as, right, it was Bill.
For finances,
Rick,
Bill,
Yeah, there was one extra person that we were just adding, so instead of being three, because three were the same, we're adding.
Bruce.
Bruce.
We'd have Bruce for both.
So if we want to do both, we'll just be fine.
could do that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so something to chew on in the next couple of weeks between now and the next meeting, but yeah, maybe it could be a joint thing.
Yeah.
I'd be fine with that too.
do we want to wait till June or do we want to schedule one to get this
Yeah.
going?
I
How,
think-
how much time do you need to?
Let me.
Get the preliminaries done.
Like I said this morning, I didn't told you I didn't look at it, I'm looking at it right now. And that's like stuff in, give me a week here and I should have a good portion done. Then we'll-
Did you get that this morning, Brian, or?
Jason sent that out last week, Thursday, I believe it was, I got the email and just gave us a heads up as chiefs and the municipal clerks, heads up. It's going in front of the committee on Tuesday, and this is the draft.
Yep. Yep, so there's gonna be a new one coming out. You should have it shortly. They changed some wording on there. There was something that wasn't correct, so a new one, you should have it by tomorrow morning. That's the only thing I changed, was just some verbiage. Otherwise, everything else stayed the same,
So
so.
that should
Yeah,
get
give me a
forward.
week and then I'll talk to Melissa, we can look at getting a committee together.
Perfect.
Effort of time, maybe that should get forwarded along for the rest of us to review.
I agree, right? I totally agree. We gotta get moving on this, because Brian's right, man, it's the end of June is the deadline, so we got to move very fast on
Yeah, it
this.
was contradicting because Jason's email that he sent out kind of said, this is gonna be open for a while, and all of a sudden I looked at the application itself and said June 30th. I'm like, that ain't a while.
It was a while when they originally thought about it. Yeah, well, joint finance and public safety could schedule a meeting whenever it would connect with what you're doing and start the process. On June 6th, we'll have agendized so that we can delegate that authority to the joint committee.
Yep.
Which you may already have a product by then, so.
Yep.
And we could approve it as a board, so we'll play that by ear.
Yeah, so just stay in touch.
All right, anything else?
That's all I've got.
All right. Report from Finance Committee.
We just got together because there was some business to discuss regarding the business park. It was mostly closed session, talking about plans and bids. So nothing more to really share than that.
All right. Okay, items for discussion and action. Motion to approve payments to Kent Carl's for sanitary sewer backup damages. Now, Roger, included in your packet, has a memorandum where he explained some of the investigation he went through. He touched base with Belgium, Cedar Grove, Wishburg, Sackville, and Port Washington. And is there any information on there that leads anyone to any specific decision on it?
Me personally, I mean, I refer back to the statement and the email we received from our insurance agency. I mean, after reading that, unfortunately, in my mind, it's pretty cut and dry, so. And I don't know, another item I would bring up is I don't know how on this agenda we were initially talking about doing half, and now we've got the whole full amount here. I know it says not to exceed that, but I don't know why the whole amount is listed on here, but I guess that's where I'm coming from. Just based on the information that she provided.
Well, I look at it, the village actually has 3 businesses. And this is one of them, the wastewater or the sewage plant. We provide the pipes and the treatment. And if you're a business and your equipment fails, it's your responsibility. Our equipment failed. I think it should be paid for because it's our problem, and some of these other communities are doing the same thing. And then look forward to getting insurance or putting money away for in case these things happen again.
I agree with you there, 100%.
So the only
It's like
thing
a
with
dollar a person.
the only thing with the additional insurance is the claim would have been denied based on it wasn't due to negligence.
Right. And as you stated the last meeting, Bill, I mean, it is in our ordinances.
Correct.
And out of the examples that were brought up here, only one. The other one was a couple contractor errors it looked like. And Saukville looks like they set up some kind of fund for it.
Melissa, can you remind me, did you, something about Grafton? You had something Grafton does not? I don't remember.
I believe Grafton does not pay for backups.
Thank you.
Yeah, Belgium says they do not reimburse either. Cedar Grove had an occasion that was created by well, Cedar Grove reimbursed the last one was more than 5 years ago. They then created a policy to notify residents that they expect residents to purchase necessary insurance and the village will not be reimbursing in the future. That was Cedar Grove. Oostburg, they are reimbursed on the last few backups, which were caused by contractor errors or damaged sewers. They then collected from the contractor.
So that would have been reimbursed.
That would have been
Insurance.
reimbursed to the village and charged to the causal factor. Their wastewater operator indicated that they would likely reimburse for cleanup if the main was blocked. Now, that would be this condition. Saukville reimbursed the last one. They have created a fund for collection system maintenance that would be used for future backups. So it appears as though they would pay from a fund that they are establishing or adding to. Port Washington reimbursed the homeowner for the last backup. The backup was caused by grease blockage from a nearby business. They ended up splitting the costs with the business. So the village paid, the city paid half and the business paid half. The solutions are all over the map. There's not a concurrence between two of any of them. It's like they just kind of deal with it as it comes up. I like the idea to recommend that homeowners insure themselves for this and take the village responsibility out. Now, the village could apply for insurance and get insurance to cover our part of it, but that would cost, as it's been checked out, that would cost around $5,000 a year to add that insurance to our portfolio already. That would be similar to paying for a sewer backup every year without whether we had one or not. So that doesn't seem to be a good option. It comes down to that people have to start taking on responsibility. If the blockage was in your lateral, it would be your bill because it would be your lateral. And that's understandable. Now, it wasn't in your, it was downstream from your lateral in our pipe. Now, it's one of those things where something happened and it really wasn't anybody's fault, but the person that we can't identify who put something on the toilet shouldn't have gone down there, or however that happened. My recommendation would be that we notify through the newsletter or water bill or something to all residents that the village is going to create a policy that we will not reimburse for sewer backups and strongly recommend that residents insure themselves through their own homeowner insurance. It's relatively inexpensive. Yours was $150 a month. You'd have to go 40 years. You'd have to go, yeah, a year. You'd have to go 40 years to cost as much as one sewer backup would, you know, at that price. The village can't really afford to insure everyone because we don't know what the future is going to be either. So my recommendation would be doing that. And how you want to handle this particular one. My recommendation would be that we should pay for half because we didn't have the insurance and it wasn't our fault. And that the homeowner should pay for half because they didn't have any insurance and it wasn't their fault either. So that would be my recommendation for those two things.
Is that setting precedent for somebody in the future if they don't have insurance?
Yes,
Not if we establish a policy.
we already have.
We already have, it's already in our ordinances. There is a policy for that. I would say it's more of a reminder out to the newsletter that the village does not cover incidents for sewer backups, but unless it's a neglect or damage from our contractors, right? That's what our policy states.
Yeah, well, I believe that we do not pay for them when they occur in a home's lateral. I'm not sure exactly what the language states.
That's not how the language read, right?
That's just my opinion. I'm just one guy. So you gotta, the rest of us have to,
This is a brand new lateral, it was just relined.
yeah,
Shouldn't
yeah.
have bought it the first place.
Mhm.
If they're not out checking them monthly or quarterly, whatever, then it falls back in there.
Nobody checks them monthly.
I talked to guys from Brownsville, they do it
Maybe there's an exception.
pretty big.
From the research I've done, I mean, it's maybe an annual thing, but monthly is.
They go to the bad laterals, they check those quite frequently in town. You know, South Walk Street High, or so if they laterals, you know, he's out checking them constantly.
Well, they just check the main sewer.
Right.
They don't check the laterals.
Oh, right.
Because there's a history that we're responsible for responding to that history of making sure that they get cleaned on a regular basis. We had no history that we had problems with that particular lateral that I know of, or that particular main.
455-9, section F.
Ordinance.
Someone here to read that ordinance?
What did he say?
Said, would somebody care to read that ordinance?
Yeah, we will then when we get it.
Okay, thank you.
They're finding it right now.
You said 455-9?
Yeah, section F.
And an F it looks like.
I don't know if they referred to the homeowner's lateral or if it referred to the entire system at large. You know, anything happens outside of the main sewer pipe in the lateral
Well,
is something that the village doesn't
Does
cover.
someone want to read that to Dan so he knows what the ordinance states?
Utility responsibility, the utility and its agents and employees shall not be liable for damages occasioned by reason of blockage, by reasons of breaking, clogging, stoppage, or freezing of any building sewers or building drains, nor from damage arising from repair, repairing mains, making connections or extensions or any other work that may be deemed necessary. The right is hereby reserved to cut off water and sewer service at any time for any purpose of repairs or any other necessary purpose, any permit granted or regulation to the contrary notwithstanding. Whenever it shall become necessary to shut off the sewer service within the district of the said village, the village shall, if practicable, give notice to each and every consumer affected within said village of the time in which service will be shut off.
And it sounded like the lateral, though, what their responsibility was. It didn't sound like the main, what they were talking about there.
It's not talking about a main or a lateral. It's not specific.
It's also referring to activity that's in a positive direction that's being done by the village or employees of that causes water to be needed to shut off or the sewer service to be blocked. It seems like something that falls in between all of the verbiage of the ordinance.
Right, but again, I mean, if we had our attorney here telling us something, we would follow their counsel. Right, more than likely, we want to pay an attorney and then be like, okay, well, we're gonna do something completely different. I mean, our insurance person or agent, whatever, wrote an email. I don't know who was copied on this or who got it. But I mean, it says, according to Wisconsin State Statute 893.80, even if the village was found to be at fault, there's discretionary immunity for the village throughout the statute. Therefore, even if the village was at fault, we would still potentially deny the claim. And goes on to list the few exceptions to discretionary immunity as follows. Ministerial duties imposed by law, duties to address a known danger, and actions involved professionally, medical discretion, and actions that are malicious, willful and intentional. So
I thought when we asked Roger to look into it, we also asked him to contact the attorney, didn't we?
I think that was included in it. I don't know if he didn't have anything feedback from the attorney that I've seen yet.
Right.
Essentially, what we're doing here is we're asking all of the village to pay for one blockage, right?
Mhm.
And any damage caused for that by something that somebody else put down the drain.
Yeah. Somebody in the village,
You can
like,
understand both sides, because it's not. you know
Oh,
what I mean?
it sucks.
I
I
get it.
wouldn't want to go through that situation either, right?
But I agree with John too, you know, $5,000, but 2,500 people here having $1 or $2. And having that confidence, peace of mind, that if something happens on their lateral, it's their responsibility, we know that. But if something happens in the village every time, or once a year,
This is only the second time I remember having a problem
yeah,
in the last.
So another,
Years.
but another extreme, right? Your neighbor's house starts on fire, that then catches your house on fire. Is the village liable for that?
it's like a tree. Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
right, and where does
Street
it,
phone.
where does it stop?
But this is a service that the village charges people for and we provide.
I get that, but we also had someone here not that long ago that had their water bill that they wanted to dispute, and we didn't pay a dime
Well,
towards that.
water is controlled differently than wastewater. That's a state.
I get that, but we still provide, we check the meters, we provide the meters.
Yeah, but that's state rules and not village rules. That state we can't mess with.
yeah, it's Public Service Commission.
I get that, but then why is our insurance agent using a state statute to explain why they will not, why they won't approve this? I mean, there must be some sort of state oversight on this as well, to a certain extent. I'm just saying that lady came to 4 meetings or 3 or 4 meetings, and brought an expert plumber, whether we did how much investigation, and at the end of the day, we said, sorry. we feel bad, it's terrible, but we're not gonna pay anything for it.
That's because by
Yeah,
state
the
statute, we
PSC
had to deny it.
Yeah, the PSC didn't have anything where we could justify not charging for the water. That's all locked up tight, covered by statutes and
I get that, but that's what I'm
administrative.
saying. Where does it stop then? That's what I'm saying. We could approve to pay for this whole thing. We could approve to pay for half of it, then say we're never gonna do it again. And then it's like, okay, well then what's the next? That's where it's just, it is tough. It really is. This is the part of the job that's just not fun, in my opinion, because
No, saying
there's
no to a
no-
taxpayer never is fun.
right, no, there's no right way to go about it. It's an unfortunate situation and we're trying to figure out the best way to deal with it, and no matter which way we go, I don't think someone's gonna be upset.
One thing we're gonna have to do is clarify that ordinance. And
That
make it,
sounds like
and make it,
contractor working on properties, extending laterals, from what I heard.
Right.
Mr.
we have to make a differentiation between the system itself and the laterals connecting to the system, which is the intention, that's the understood intention of the ordinance. We have to clarify that with language that makes it clear. I still think the best fix is to split the cost of the damages and to do what we need to do to make the ordinance clear and the policy known to all the homeowners.
I get that, but we also hire professionals to take their opinions on things. We hire attorneys, we have insurance people, we have firms that we hire out to do certain things for engineering, and we take their advice based on their expert opinion. And me personally, this is what the insurance that we have came back with a very lengthy explanation on why this should not be approved. And unfortunately, I think I'm just gonna have to go with that as much as it sucks.
No, this is just, our insurance didn't cover that.
If we didn't have
Even if we had it, they wouldn't.
I'm not reading it that way. I'm really reading it, they're not gonna cover this incident.
They
But
did.
I don't think we have a rider that says,
So then we shouldn't carry any insurance?
no, I don't think we have a rider that will cover backups in the lateral to a property. That's what we should.
In the main sewer,
Yes.
just like,
a price on it.
well,
Right, but
just-
they said flat on there, I read it. Therefore, even if we had it, they would still potentially deny the claim. Even if we had it, they still might deny it. They didn't flat out say, well, if you had it, we would have approved it. I mean, I read this whole thing like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah, I did too. It says if the village,
Was at fault, they would still potentially deny the claim.
Which means they probably would deny.
we have a number of people in our system. We have a sewer backup problem like this. Not on a yearly basis, not every other year. There's only been 3 or 4 since I've been on the board, and that's 25 years. And things happen.
Well, what do we
Somebody
do with the other 2 or 3?
flushes a diaper down a toilet. Somebody dumps grease from their fry baby. Somebody is,
What did we do with the other 2 or 3 prior to this one in the 20-some years? What happened? Did we pay for it?
the only ones I can remember had their own flood insurance.
Okay,
And the most recent one, they didn't have, or not flood insurance, sewer backup insurance. The most recent one didn't have backup insurance, but the cost was minimal. And I don't know if we paid that. I cannot.
no, that
recall
was
if we
up
paid that.
at the lift station on the northwest end. And it was the house closest to it. I think the lift station fail? There's a power outage or something. Anyhow, the people talked about it and they never did, no one's followed through ever. So it just went away.
Yeah, the one on South Milwaukee Street and Wheeler Avenue was the one that I was thinking of. That was like 3, 4 years ago. And they had just moved in and whatever, and there wasn't anything downstairs, and we didn't really do much damage.
Mhm.
But we have to do something so that we're not sitting here again attending 4 or 5 meetings and discussing this.
Should we do this in two parts? First, take care of the issue that the flooding that they had, and then second, decide where to go from that.
Well, I would include in the motion that we will pursue ordinance changes to clarify what we are responsible for.
Wouldn't that have to be two separate motions?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Well.
Sounds like a future
Mind it happens
agenda.
on the first.
Yeah,
Sounds like
same
a
night.
future agenda thing. We're only agendized for this one thing.
Okay, I'm gonna make a motion to fully approve the $6,840.27 for the backup.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any further comments? All right, we will call a roll call vote and we will start with John this time.
Aye.
Nay,
Nay.
Nay.
Yay.
Dan,
Nay.
Bill.
Nay.
Okay, I believe the nays have it. Does someone want to offer another motion? Like perhaps half. Split it with them.
I'll make a motion to split the cost. Sort of backup, which would be about 400.
What budget does this come out of?
Hmm?
What budget does this come out of?
Sewer general funds.
How much is remaining in that fund?
Well, this has to come out of the sewer budget.
Yeah.
For the record, I do believe that Roger had said that. I mean, he looked at it and he thought that if we did decide to do something, there was room there.
Did you make a motion?
Yes.
I'll second it.
So the motion is to pay half of the requested amount. All right, I will call the vote. I will start. I will say aye. This is a hard one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It really is. Oh,
It's a tough one, but I'm going to go nay.
Josh, you said nay.
Nay, no,
Pepe said me?
no, I said nay. He said
Oh, Pepe said aye.
Yeah.
Dan?
I'm with everybody. This one's a little bit tough. But I just want to say again that we really need to make this clear. It's unfortunate, it sucks. But I would expect in the position that I'm in, the same thing to happen. So I'm gonna say nay.
Bill?
Nay.
John?
Aye.
What was the count on that?
4 yes, 3 no.
4 yes, 3 no. Okay, I would declare the motion adopted. And we should try and refrain from explaining our votes. Okay, so that's the action of the board will be to split the cost with you. We'll pay for half, you pay for half. And we will be looking at that ordinance and clarifying it so that there's not a misunderstanding in the future. And probably adding something to the water bill newsletter or put it on the website or something that we encourage strongly that homeowners cover themselves for this occasion. I know it's an extra $150 a year and whatever.
I didn't know providers would get.
Right, right.
I've had this policy for how many years? Didn't even phase that, but I had homeowners insurance.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, but
Need to get a better agent.
yeah, your agent should have tried to upsell you with that. Yeah,
About it, but
okay.
I feel bad for raise 3 girls, they have one big amount of money.
Yeah,
I'm sure had that.
yeah, we've all been there. Alrighty, so that's the discussion on that. Hopefully you're satisfied that license to blow a little bit, whatever, but that's the decision. Next, motion to approve agreement with Trier Engineering for design of sidewalk installation on North Milwaukee Street.
I'd make a motion to table this until Roger's back here to explain this. I don't know how this is on the agenda without him being here, so I would motion to table this until Roger's.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. That's. I will just call that question. It is debatable, but I'll just call that. All in favor?
Could have roll call.
Oh, yeah, you can start. Bill starts. The motion to table.
Bill starts?
No, you do. I started the last. No, you.
Me? Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Okay, we'll move on to Personnel Committee. Or no, motion to approve sidewalk inspection report.
I think I'm a motion to table that too, because Roger's not here to go over where this came from or what's going on with this.
And I will second that.
Bruce starts.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
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 Okay, motion carried. Hear from personnel.
Personnel met on 5/5, discussed several things. I did not get the report in on time, so it's not in the packet. We discussed administrative assistant position. We had a lot of discussion about going to 2 full-time positions with the idea of cross-training clerk treasurer versus I'm sorry, clerk and then a treasurer position, cross-training each other's expertise. Talked that it could be a 32-hour-a-week position. We've got some more research to do, including benefit costs and whatnot. We talked about the employee benefits. Insurance essentially will be a wash. I think it's another $9 an employee. Looked at the retirement packages. Dan Gerke's continuing to look into the WRS stuff. Did a little bit of a review on the employee handbook. Some items we're looking at changing, including PTO system, revising the sick and vacation pay. Biggest thing, we had to clarify hourly wages for the disc golf help and park program leader and temporary summer help. Motion to recommend to the board to include the clarification on those salaries, and that's across all 3, $12 an hour, with returning help an additional 50 cents.
All right, we're in order for a motion on that.
So moved.
Second.
All right, the motion been made and seconded to have $12 an hour across all 3 and $12.50 for returning. Any questions? All in favor? Oh,
Aye.
sorry. Dan, you started.
Sounds good. Aye.
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 Motion carried unanimously.
Real quick, Roger wanted me to let you know that for the summer help, he did hire a young person, so that vacant spot has been filled.
Okay, good.
Which spot was that?
The summer DPW.
Yeah, grass cutter.
We still don't have a parks leader.
We do not have a parks leader, so if anybody know anybody that we do not have yet.
All righty, report from Park and Recreation, Van Gerke.
Yeah, so the report is in the packet. I guess some of the key items, we are not doing the parade this year, and that's mostly due to security concerns over what's happened the last, year or so in the general area. The marshal felt that it was, with not having a full-time police force and the equipment to block roads and stuff, it probably wasn't a wise idea. So that was the big development out of that. Otherwise, I think I had made a comment earlier that the donation amounts are coming in right now, I believe. Melissa, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's $5,200 that we have at the moment that's deposited. And we have, I know of at least 2,000 more that's coming in that just has not been deposited yet. So we're getting up there with what we have budgeted as well. We've covered, a lot of our costs so far, and we're just continuing to get great contributions from the community. So very well done. Any questions?
Good work beating the streets for those donations. I know you put a lot of effort into this.
Yeah, our committee's been really good. We've done a good job. Thank you.
And I did mean that collectively, not just you, your committee.
I do kick a lot of butt though.
Yeah. Slave driver.
Thank you.
All right, work is not done yet, but it's well along the way. Okay, thank you, Dan. We have a motion in order to approve the application and permit for fireworks at Family Fun Before the Fourth event for June 25th.
Only thing I'd add to that is he asked for a rain date, and I believe the Parks Committee has kind of discussed this the last meeting too. This is going to happen rain or shine. We're not going to do a rain date. It's just with all the vendors that we have coming and the organization, it's going to be too hard to reschedule. So it's going to happen one way or another.
We know fireworks can be done in the rain.
And we have a big
As
tent
witnessed
this
last
time.
year.
Yes, sir.
All right,
They're gonna be going off from the same place again this year.
Yeah, that's the plan right now. The only thing that would maybe complicate that is if we get a roof on that bathroom before then, and I don't know what happens if that does come to fruition.
I was just trying to clarify, because as written here, the agenda, it kind of looks like Fun Before the Fourth event and fireworks would be at Fireman's Park. So just wanted to try to clarify that.
Sure. Yeah, the fireworks should be going off. The fireworks will be going off at Oak Park, same place they were last year.
Motion to approve the application
substitute. Oh,
and permit for fireworks at Oak Park for the Family Fun Before the Fourth event and the yeah. So we don't need an application for the event, do we? This is strictly for the fireworks permit, correct?
Correct.
Which park is
The Oak Park.
activity gonna happen in? Marie Krause or Fireman's?
Firemen's.
Oh, it's not on here. I didn't see it. Okay.
the actual location will be shot off from, I believe, the parking lot down at Mary Krause.
Right.
Okay.
So I have a motion
Second.
and I have a second. Okay, Bill, you start.
Aye.
Aye.
I
Dan?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried unanimously. Anything else to report on that?
Nope, gonna blow some stuff up.
There we go. Okay, any questions of Dan? All right, we'll move on, course, ordinance 22-3. Changing from Tuesdays to from Thursdays to Tuesdays. The ordinance is,
I'm gonna look back on this again and say, we're trying to do a couple things right now, right? We're trying to get schedules of different committee meetings when they're gonna be held weekly. We talked about having maybe meetings once a week or once a month instead of twice a month. We've been going back and forth from Tuesdays to Thursdays to Thursdays to Tuesdays. As it stands right now, I just don't see that we're ready to make motion and approve an ordinance change either way, especially if we have a possibility of changing something else in the future. Right back. I think that's going to create more public confusion than anything. So at this point, I'm just thinking maybe it's the best opportunity for us to just pump the brakes a little bit, see what happens with these committee assignments and schedules, and go from there.
I'd like to make a motion to return to conforming with our current ordinances and return meetings to Thursdays twice a month.
And the documents to Monday,
I'm sorry,
to not change either of the two.
Just basically.
Return.
Motion would be to.
To deny,
return to
Deny it.
conforming with our ordinance.
You want to put something else in there about doing this committee thing, setting up weekly committee meetings, like a deadline on it, or you just want to go back to this?
go back to what it was originally?
No,
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
Well, under the motion, it's just to conform with what we already have in place.
Okay.
That should all be in addition, but outside of this,
Yep.
That will give us an incentive to get the rest of the stuff in order. So we can splash it all down at one time.
I just want to make sure we're moving towards something.
I agree with you, Josh.
Well, if we switch it to Tuesdays, and then we set up the committees to focus on Tuesday village board meetings, or do you want to then direct which way do you want to do it? Focus on the Tuesday board meetings or Thursday board meetings?
That'll be part of the discussion. Yeah.
Right, but that's,
I think unless we have all of our ducks in a row, it's not fair to the rest of the public for us to go back and forth and back and forth. There's a lot of confusion there.
Yeah, we've given it a good enough trial and found out that we have more work to do, so.
I will second Bill's motion.
Okay, any other discussion on that?
what is the motion? Is the,
Just to conform to our current
Go back
ordinance.
to Thursday
That-
nights.
Okay.
Basically deny it.
Yeah. Okay, hearing nothing else, I will call the vote. Starting with John.
nay?
Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Dan?
Aye.
Bill?
Aye.
Okay, motion carried. Now, let that be an incentive for us to continue what we're planning for this.
Less people.
Yeah, I think if we get the committee meetings more organized, I think it'll lessen the burden on all of us, and especially Melissa. Not saying that we have to only have our committee meetings on those specified dates. You know, sometimes.
But we'll have an aim date.
Special situations do arise, finance, personnel.
Right, I just think we're making it more complicated than what it has to be. Me personally, you do the first Thursday, the third Thursday, and then you can put your committee meetings on the third and fourth week of every month. And then you've got it there by anything that needs to be handled by the first meeting, or anything that needs to be discussed by the third meeting. And if that goes really well, then we can look at going down to one meeting a month. I think we're making this
And we
way
use-
too complicated than what it has to
We
be.
utilize the whole month's Thursdays.
Right, I mean, how many committees are we talking about here? I mean, we got, what are our main ones here? I mean, we got planning commission, architecture, where they already are pre-established,
Yes.
public works.
Yeah, there's only a
economic
couple of
finance.
committees that regularly meet.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
So if
small.
we can't figure it out between the third and fourth week every month. That's when you have your committee meetings. I mean, this is not
I
rocket science.
don't disagree with you at all on that.
Okay, we'll work on that. Number 8, correspondence recycling grant, is a copy of that's in your report. means by which they established a dollar amount and whatever. It's 66.82 and 6 cents. If we're gonna do it to 6 cents. That came in correspondence, items for future consideration by the village board.
I think we should agendize the next meeting for discussion and action on just that topic for the committee days and
I tried to do that this time. Nobody wanted to set.
You want that on the agenda?
I wouldn't.
Discussion,
By that time, all of the committees should have met already, right? And have had something scheduled.
And make it standing. No, the other thing I never understood is you could have a committee meet in that room and have a committee meet in this room. We have two rooms we can utilize.
With two government entities utilizing this one.
True, that's also true.
yeah, the thing that makes it rough is there's each trustee is on at least 3 committees. So that's kind of a red herring, but you can make that work too. It would be nice to have all the meetings on Thursdays. All the committee meetings anyhow on Thursdays, so that would be a day that we would just all hold open. As far as the board meeting, that could be on any day of the week, regardless of how the committee structure is.
Print out a big old calendar and just fill it in.
And fill it in,
With
yep.
committees.
Mhm.
Yep.
And it's not rocket science, it's just organization.
Right.
All right. Okay, next agenda, agenda will be a preliminary assessment resolution for sidewalks. And I believe that has to do with
That had to do with,
the
Rogers.
construction project.
no, it had to do with Rogers sidewalk inspection.
Oh, we did the Hill Street ones already. Okay. All right, we'll be discussing that as well as the other subjects that we delayed until next meeting. Anything else? We are in order to adjourn.
So moved.
We're meeting on the 9th then, not the 7th.
We will be maybe meeting on a Thursday.
That'll be the ninth.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay, we have 2 motions to adjourn. We have a second.
Bill made the motion.
Sorry.
All those
second
in
then.
favor, Dan, you want to holler out?
Yeah.
Often I beat you to it.
Aye.
That's true.
Okay, we are adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thanks, guys, for setting that up. That worked out really well, actually. I could hear everybody, no problem, so.
I didn't call roll call for that either.
Whole lot of ice.
Yeah.